Hey, this is Alex from the Kibosh Video Game Podcast, and this is Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Nintendo Wii. It has been held in near unanimous agreement that the Donkey Kong Country games for the Super Nintendo are some of the best games not only on the platform, but of the platforming genre in general. Despite this all-encompassing praise, in the years following the 16-bit era, Donkey Kong has mostly fallen off the radar in terms of top-tier platformers. Since the departure of Rare, the developers of the Donkey Kong Country franchise from Nintendo in 2002, Donkey Kong has mainly been used as a sort of guinea pig test subject for new ideas. This came in the form of games such as Donkey Konga and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat for the GameCube, showing off Nintendo's barrel controllers, DK King of Swing and DK Jungle Climber, a handheld series which tried to move the ape into a new style of gameplay revolving around climbing pegs, and the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series which brought back the style of gameplay from the original Donkey Kong arcade games. And while I personally never had much interest in these games, I appreciated their desire to innovate. On that same note, there was no real reason for me to have any interest in these games, as aside from the occasional session of Donkey Kong games with my grade school friends, I never had any real one-on-one time with the big ape myself. This is why when Nintendo announced that Retro Studios, the same developers that revitalized the Metroid series with the Metroid Prime games, was going to be doing the same thing for the Donkey Kong series with the release of Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii in 2010, I was less than amused. It had been 14 years since the last of the acclaimed Donkey Kong Country games was released on the Super Nintendo, and Donkey Kong Country Returns seemed to me like another one of Nintendo's nostalgic-ridden games akin to Super Mario Bros. Wii or Metroid Other M, trying to woo players in with their 1990s style. This is not to say that I have any particular problem with nostalgia. I love my childhood games as much as the next person, but I had no real emotional connection to Donkey Kong, and I wasn't looking for that trip down memory lane. I wanted something fresh. I wanted something new. I wanted the innovation. But that's where my thinking was wrong. My lack of insight into the Donkey Kong way of life made this game not a rehash of a decade-and-a-half old concept, but rather a whole new experience that showed me just why the Donkey Kong Country franchise was so popular in the first place. The game presents itself as a 2.5D side-scrolling platformer similar to its SNES predecessors. All characters, items, and landscapes are represented by 3D models, but the characters' movements are limited to a 2D plane, at least for the most part. There are multiple levels in which, by either necessity or as a level secret, you can move Donkey Kong from the main two-dimensional path of the game into a parallel set of platforms positioned in the background of the levels. This is just one of the small but significant ways that Donkey Kong Country Returns expands upon the original series concepts. It also has plenty of the series' trademark blast barrel sections and the oh-so-literal on-rail minecart sections. It even combines these two ideas into new sections where you fly in a rocket barrel as it propels you either forward or vertically through a level, while you try to dodge everything in your path by carefully balancing your height with a button press. The game also lets you choose which style of controls you want to use, with options for both the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, or by turning the Wii Remote on its side like an NES controller. The main problem with this is that both control schemes require motion controls for certain moves, and while moves like ground pounding works well with the waggle and even feels intuitive, having to shake the Wii Remote to roll or to execute the new move of blowing doesn't feel natural at all, and sometimes is unresponsive or will perform the wrong move altogether if you're not perfectly hitting the right direction on the analog stick or D-pad. The story in this game is almost non-existent, with little more than a short opening cutscene that explains that a group of mind-controlling tiki statues have stolen Donkey Kong's banana hoard, and he and his pal Diddy Kong must set out once again to get their bananas back. I don't hold this as a criticism, however, as it does tell you everything you need to know, better than the original Donkey Kong Country in fact, and you will be concentrating far too much on staying alive to question the reasoning of your daring quest. That's right, this game is hard. Brutal even. Don't let the cute and colorful animals deceive you. You will die, and die, and die again. Luckily there are plenty of ways to easily build up large collections of lives, which is good as it isn't hard to lose up to 20 or 30 lives in a single level. Surprisingly, I never found myself overly frustrated. and more often than not, I was left feeling more determined to finish a level after each consecutive death, as the levels are very well structured and highly intuitive, as long as you're up for some challenge and a little level memorization. One thing to think about before psyching yourself up to play this game is that there is a difficulty curve that comes in the form of the final boss, and in a game that it can already be excruciatingly difficult, a spike right at the end can near ruin the whole experience of the game. One more minor gripe I had with Donkey Kong Country Returns was its Tiki antagonists. Even as someone with very little background in the DK world, it just didn't feel like a Donkey Kong Country game without DK's arch rival, King K. Rool and his crew of killer Kremlings. But the Tikis do hold their own, and along with the various bosses, add some humor to the package. And for someone who's coming in brand new to the Donkey Kong franchise, this won't be a problem at all. Donkey Kong Country Returns does a lot to streamline the experience to keep the focus almost entirely on the gameplay. Aside from the Kremlings getting axed, there are also many other characters that didn't make the cut. In fact, aside from Donkey Kong and Diddy, the only other classic Kong to make an appearance is Cranky, who runs the item shop. So don't expect to see any surfboard carrying or bikini wearing apes in this game, or any ghostly old ladies. The only real complaint with this streamlining is the inability to switch between characters. For all the Diddy fans out there, you will be stuck playing as DK for the entire game, with Diddy taking the role of a power-up, adding an extra health and jump boost. But don't let that get you down. If you really want to play as Diddy, grab a friend and play co-op, with one player controlling Donkey Kong and the other Diddy Kong. Just make sure that you are both of a similar skill level. The ability to play co-op, along with a time attack mode, and a slew of collectibles to collect in a two-dimensional world with more areas to explore than many three-dimensional games, will have fans of side-scrolling platformers coming back over and over again. After playing this game, I learned something. Is Donkey Kong Country Returns a game made to appeal to the fans? Absolutely. But that doesn't just include old fans that have been fans of this series for ages, but now new fans like me as well.